So I grab my coat, slam the door, and I leave. I try to get to my car. I'm getting out of here as fast as possible. I just walked out of my job. I just had a huge, heated argument with my boss. See, I was trying to go out of town next weekend, and I knew that ahead of time, and therefore he knew that ahead of time. Yet I still got scheduled next weekend. I was not shy about telling him this. Got heated, and I just left. Now I get out to my car, and I'm fired up, and the car doesn't even start. Not right away. It takes a long time. So I'm trying to get out of here and peel out as quickly as possible, and my car doesn't even start. Finally, it gets started, though. I get home, I check the mail. I'm still fuming, and there's a letter from the bank. I got eight overdrafts. Oh, if that's not bad enough, you know what? If they would have deducted the money as it came in, there would have been 2 or 3 overdrafts. But they reorganize it, they hoard them, and then they take the biggest one first, draining the account, making it more likely that I'll get more overdrafts. So there's $200 or more worth of overdrafts. So now I have a meltdown. I'm completely furious. So off to the big box stores I go, frantically walking up and down the aisles, looking for things to buy. That's what I do. Of course, I don't have money. That's what credit cards are for, right? So stress shopping was a bad habit that I used to have. And it didn't even matter what I was buying or why I was buying. I didn't even really know that I was doing it. I just knew that this was something that was easing my stress. So I would go to Walmart. I would go to Target. There was a Kmart at the time. I would go to Kmart. And I would just walk up and down the aisles looking for new electronics, looking for new movies to buy, looking for new music, sporting goods. Didn't matter. Organizational things. Didn't matter. I just wanted to buy things to get my mind off the stress. Now, I didn't really know that this was a bad habit. It just happened. But that's the thing about habits, right? You don't really know that they're happening. So that's the thing about bad habits. What bad habits do you have, and how can you change them? Find out more right after this. Hey, it's Derek Hagan. I'm a financial therapist. Thanks for joining me for this Money Health presentation where we're going to talk about breaking bad habits. Breaking bad habits can feel really scary. And it feels really scary because it's a big daunting thing. You look all the way up there and you think, wow, how am I ever going to do that? And so because it's so scary, we tend not to try. But if we can change our mindset a little bit, break it down into steps, we get all the way up there, but we do it in bite-sized pieces. That becomes doable. So we're changing our mindset a little bit. And we're going to break it off a chunk at a time and break it down and see what we can do to accomplish what we want to do. Now, bad habit really is something that falls outside of conscious awareness. So in that sense, a habit is different from, say, a routine. A routine is something that you routinely do, but you have to tell yourself to do it. Okay, so I have a routine where I shave, and I have a specific order that I do things, but I don't shave every day. I'm lucky that I don't have to shave every day. So it's not a habit. I actually have to say, okay, today I'm going to shave. And then I start the routine, and I finish the routine, and then I'm done. Now, there are people for whom they have to shave every day, and for those people, it might actually be a habit. For you, a habit might be brushing your teeth. You wake up, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth. You don't even really know that you're doing it. That's what makes it a habit. You don't really know that you're doing it. The conscious awareness. If it's outside of conscious awareness, it's a habit. And then here's the list of things that are good for you. So a bad habit is something that's not actually adding value to your life. It's not giving you good outcomes. So you've got something that's not doing you any good, and you don't really know that you're doing it. That's a bad habit. Now, bad habits come from these things called money scripts. You've heard of these before. A money script is a belief that it's an internalized story, really. We carry it around with us. We don't know that we have them, but we view the world through them. Effectively, they're like pulling our little strings. And without exploration, we don't really know what is driving our behaviors. And it's these money scripts. And these are developed mostly in childhood as we're piecing together how the world works. If you do this, this will happen. If you don't do this, this will happen. Or if you do this, this won't happen, that kind of stuff. Your brain is piecing together all this stuff, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And again, your brain does this. You don't do this. So you don't know that this is actually happening. And so the first step then in changing bad financial habits is to understand what we want to do. You can't change it if you don't know about it. So you have to know what you want to change. Remember, these habits happen outside of our conscious awareness. So we have to do some investigative work to figure out what do we want to change. And you can start by knowing what the outcomes are. What are these outcomes that you don't like? How do you know that you have a bad habit? And what are those habits? Start to think about this, brainstorm. What are those habits that underlie those outcomes? Let's go a little further. Why do you do that habit? Behaviors and habits were prompted by something. Remember that toothbrush example? You were prompted by waking up. Waking up, bathroom, brush my teeth. Those are prompts. Some people call these triggers. So try to figure out what are these prompts that lead to your habits. And then there's ways that we can change those. So you get the prompt, you got the automatic behavior or the habit. So add friction. Make it harder to do. All right, so maybe you have a habit of online shopping. So adding friction would be to remove the app from your phone. That makes it harder. Find an accountability friend, somebody that you have to check in with. Because if you have to check in with somebody and it's embarrassing, you're less likely to do the embarrassing thing. So think of ways that you can add friction to that bad habit. Maybe you create a rule for yourself. You're back to the online shopping. Maybe you create a rule that says, I have permission to online shop, but only after the item sits in the cart for 3 days. And then if after 3 days I still want it, then I'll go ahead and buy it. Right? But you're adding friction. That in this case, that friction is time and your own rules. So try to brainstorm ways that you can add friction, something that breaks that bad habit. And if you do that, you get to start to, first of all, we're raising the level of awareness. We're bringing this stuff into conscious awareness, increasing our money mindfulness, as I call it, the awareness of our spending, the awareness of our financial lives. And as you start to untangle these bad habits, you'll start to gain momentum, and then you get to start to put in place good financial habits. And that's good money health.